I'd invite people to join me in congratulating Deputy Mayor Renee McLennan. So item 5 on the agenda is public question time. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to ask a question? I'd remind people that this meeting is recorded, and as such, you should be aware of that. Any public questions at this time? Mr. Yates, would you come forward to the microphone? Thank you.
Don Yates, 10 Thompson Road. I'd just like to congratulate those people who swapped seats, the Mayor and Deputy Mayor, and wish you well. And I just wonder, going forward from here, whether because there's been a number of changes in the council, whether the council should consider the current budget plans and whatever. So instead of having a budget review in January, the budget review is actually brought forward, so the new council get to reflect the policy going forward efficiently.
Thank you, Mr. Yates. I know, would Mr. Yates like an answer to that question? Our financial controller will be facilitating a review and a workshop with current councillors about the budget and about our finances, and from that point we will move forward in respect to the budget process. So thank you for your question. I understand, I can see a hand there. Would you like to come to the microphone, my dear?
Thank you. My question is...
State your name and address.
Anne Brinkworth, 99 Street, Bassendean. Why and will the Queen and our flags be returned in the chamber? Thank you. And why were they taken down? It is not correct that a local government association does not have the Queen and our flags there.
Thank you for that, Councillor Anne Brinkworth. We have our Queen just outside the doorway.
No, you don't put her outside the door. Why was it taken down, and whose authority? Was it the Mayor, CEO, or the staff on their own accord? That's the question I'm asking, and if and when it will be returned.
Firstly, I believe that the chamber was refurbished during the COVID period in March, when we had our first lockdown, and I understand that the reason for refurbishing the chamber was because it was looking drab and dark and old. So we have a new chamber which is fresher. It has large aerial photographs of the town which have been well received by many people coming into this chamber. I think that the flags fly out the front of the council building. They are there for all to see. I don't see the necessity myself of having flags in the chamber. We certainly bring flags into our citizenship ceremonies. The Queen is also on display during citizenship ceremonies. So there is many opportunities where these things are on display. In the council chamber, it may not be necessary, but I'd also remind the people attending this meeting that before COVID, we were attempting as a council, the previous council, to bring the process closer to the people, and we were bringing meetings out into the suburbs and inviting the people to come to Ashfield and to Eden Hill to see the council process, and that was very successful. At those meetings, we did not have the Queen on display, we did not have the flags on display, but what we did have was a closer attachment to our community, and I think these things are important to connect with our community. I think that these things, such as the flag and the Queen, are already acknowledged in many ways at council, but I'm certainly open to our councillors, our new councillors, to perhaps discuss this at a workshop coming into the future.
May I add that you maybe do a community survey on it? That would be probably better. Obviously, a lot of these councillors have not been talking to the older community. They are absolutely disgusted what's happened. and they've asked me on their behalf to speak because they're too upset about it. So I think when you do bring it up, do a survey. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other?
I've got a loud voice, which is an advantage. Thank you.
Yep. It's unfortunate that we're in an older building, an old chamber. These microphones are more for the recording, so that when the recording is released to the public, that they can actually hear us and our conversations. Unfortunately, we don't have a system in place at the moment that is actually a microphone system projecting sound. This is certainly something that the administration have been looking at. So I think that I'll throw to the CEO here.
It's due to be upgraded this year. Thank you.
Any further questions? Sir?
Bill Busby, 53 Hague Street. Congratulations on those elected. What Anne's asked, and she's one of the longest citizens and done a tremendous job. She actually asked a question and never got an answer about when the pictures would be going back up. If we want, and I know you're all for transparency, can we just get the question? If somebody's asking a question, it would be great to get an answer, rather than the whole bit of we're painting and we're doing this and doing that. If I painted my house and it took 5 minutes to put the paintings back, 5 months to put the paintings up, it would be good. So can I please have an answer to that, because she does deserve an answer. And a lot of people, when I've been going around, have been asking me the same question. I'm not a royalist personally, but we are still a monarchy.
Mr. Busby, did you give your name and address at the beginning?
Bill Busby, 53 Hague Street.
Thank you. Mr. Busby, myself as an individual on a council cannot give you a specific answer to that. It's up to this joint council to decide on that. And I think that in collaboration with the administration, as I've said to Anne Brinkworth, that this can be discussed in a workshop, an upcoming councillor workshop. And after that, I would ask the CEO to perhaps liaise with Mrs. Brinkworth. Would that be acceptable to you?
Certainly.
If I can just say, what she asked was a question that still is unanswered, because you're referring it to a committee. Hopefully will be more brief if we can just answer questions around the table or from the new mayor. Fantastic. I think you're honest, and you just need to be more proactive, because that's what everyone's, another electoral thing is going to be more open, more accountable. Emily, the new people, fantastic. But let's, when somebody comes up, do our best to give them an answer on the night, if it's your opinion or the people around the table's opinion, please.
Thank you, Mr. Busby. Mr. Yates.
Thank you. Don Yates, 10 Thompson Road, Success Hill. Just following on from what Bill Busby was saying, people come to council meetings and I guess they do spring the occasional question that the administration doesn't like. But that's, I guess, part of what the community wants. They want spontaneity, they want answers.
Excuse me, Mr. Yates. I will interrupt you there. You're presupposing that the administration may not like something, when in fact you have no proof of that.
All I was going to ask.
I think you should be rather
circumspect. Well, it would be good if this council was prepared to listen to questions when people come to public meetings, and it may not be the questions that this council want to hear, but I think you need to be open to listen to questions without notice, which was what question time at council meetings was about. And I hope, just going forward, that you at least consider, like what Mr. Busby was saying, that questions are asked by the community and they'd like answers, even if that does test the council and the staff at that time.
Thank you,
You have
sir.
to be more open.
Thank you. Any further questions? On that note, we will move on. We'll now move on to drawing of lots for the seating for councillors. The CEO is to draw lots for the seating arrangements of the councillors in alphabetical order, one at a time, and then draw a blue ball out and announce the seat number, corresponding seat number.
Thanks, councillors. To assist in this part of the agenda, I'll ask Mr. Wilson to facilitate the process. So I'm sorry, councillors, but this is going to feel a bit like musical chairs. So I just ask each of you to stand up because you may be moving. So we will start from Councillor Ames. So just in terms of the number of the seats, so to the left of the Mayor's chair, where Councillor Carter is at the moment, that is seat 1, seat 2, seat 3, seat 4, seat 5 and seat 6 to the back of the room. So,
First number I've drawn out is number 4.
so Mr Ames, if you could move to 1, 2, 3, 4. Very good, thank you.
I'm onto this.
You've done this before, haven't you? Councillor Carter.
Second number I've drawn out is number 6.
So it's nice and warm for you, Jenny.
Thank you, Councillor Carter. We do have some fresh glasses on the table in the event there's a mix-up. We'll now move to Councillor McWilliam.
Number 1.
So just across the table, thanks, Councillor McWilliam. Now move to Councillor McLennan.
Number 3.
That was a short trip. Thank you, Councillor McLennan. And Councillor Polifka.
5.
Thank you. And finally, Councillor Wilding. Thank you.
And it is indeed number 2.
Thanks very much, councillors, for indulging in that. This will be your seating allocation for the term of your appointment. Thank you.
So, councillors, we now come to item 7 of the agenda, which is the appointment of delegates and representatives to external organisations and committees of council. So the first committee that we will be asking for nominations is WALGA, East Metropolitan Zone. So this committee normally has 3 councillor positions and 1 deputy. So I'd ask for nominations. Councillor Wilding, Councillor Carter,
I'm happy to.
Councillor McLennan. Do we have anyone nominating for deputy? We might come back to that one. Okay. We also have the WALGA annual general meeting. This one normally has 2 councillor representatives and a deputy. So do I have any nominations for the WALGA annual general meeting? Councillor Wilding and Councillor Carter.
I'm happy to nominate as deputy.
Deputy. So the next committee is External Committee, Eastern Metropolitan Regional Council. Councillor Ames. Right, okay, we've got McWilliam.
Your Worship, will you be nominated for the council?
Yes, I will. Okay. We'll come to the deputy role in a moment.
I'd like to nominate for that as well, please.
Sorry?
I'd like to nominate for that as well, please.
Are there any other nominations for the deputy role on that one? Okay. Okay, so we have 4 nominations with only 2 positions. Just two of them. Okay. So, firstly, I need to ask, are there any councillors who wish to withdraw their nominations for the EMRC? Okay. And also for the deputy role, are there any councillors who wish to withdraw their nomination for the deputy role? Okay. Okay, we will have to draw a ballot for this particular committee until the position is filled.
And the names are?
Ames,
Harold, Jenny?
Ames, Linker. We've got the deputy. Why don't we do the deputy second? Okay. So, councillors, in this first ballot, we are only going to nominate 2 preferred councillors for the EMRC positions, and we will do a separate ballot for the deputies. So if you can put your 2 preferred councillors on the ballot paper.
Sorry, can I just clarify? Did you only nominate for deputy? Okay.
Sorry, you have to come back.
Can I ask a question, please, Madam
Certainly.
Mayor? My understanding was the mayor could choose to be on any committee they wish to be, so didn't need to have a ballot for that.
That's correct.
Okay, so the ballot is only for 3 places.
No, we're going to do the ballot for the deputy position separately.
Okay.
So we just do one. We need to do the ballot again. Sorry about that. Okay. So you're selecting one councillor other than myself, because I've nominated to be on the EMRC. So you're selecting one councillor to be the active EMRC member, and then after we've nominated that, we will then go to a separate ballot for the deputy position of EMRC.
Okay, thank you.
Apologies for that.
And got the one. Oh no, I've already put mine in, so we're regularly good, aren't we? Yes. Yeah.
Thank you. Now, go to deputies.
William? Olivia? Ames? Williams? Olivia? William has 4. Olivia has 2. Ames has 1.
Okay, councillors. I'm going to again call for nominations for the deputy role for EMRC. So, I'm sorry, I'm going to call nominations again for Deputy Mayor. So I've had Wilding, Palinka, and...
Not for deputy, no.
No?
I think happy for Emily to have them. Yeah.
Ames?
No, as I was echoing Councillor Pugger, I'm happy just for Balding to nominate.
Okay. So my understanding then is that Councillor Wilding has been nominated and elected to that role unopposed. this brings us to the Metropolitan Regional Road Group Eastern Region. This has one councillor and one deputy role. So I'd like to ask for nominations for that particular committee.
Excuse me, Madam Mayor, is that on our agenda?
If you have a look. Page 8.
Page 8, rightio, here we go.
So councillors are aware, the group rarely meets, but it does have a meeting coming up in November. If that's attractive.
I'm not nominating, I'm just asking a question. I believe this is Mr. Adams' area. Mr. Adams, is this the kind of position that when a meeting did come up, it could be put to councillors, and if there was somebody who was available and interested, they could attend?
Yeah, we could do it like that. If that suits the councillors. It's not usually one that attracts a lot of council attention.
I do. Councillor McWilliam, no?
I really like Councillor McLennan's suggestion, actually.
Okay, so we will leave that one.
As required.
Okay.
As required.
The next committee, where I'm asking for nominations, is the Perth Airports Municipalities Group, PAMG, which also has one. Okay, Councillor. Are there any other nominations for that one? So I assume you're elected unopposed. Now the deputy role for that one, I'm asking for nominations for the deputy for that one. Councillor Wilding. Again, elected unopposed. This one here, so we're just asking for the deputy, correct? Because these go till January. Yes. Okay. Coming to the next committee, which is the Metropolitan Central Joint Development Assessment Panel. Now, the current councillors elected to that role will be in those positions until the end of January. However, we have one vacancy for a deputy.
Was that for a deputy or for a member?
The members, because I was re-elected and I'm a current JDAP member, as is Councillor McLennan,
Yep.
those roles continue until the end of January. So at the end of January, this will come back to council for those two members to be elected, nominated and elected. But in the meantime, we've got a vacancy for a deputy.
Yep.
Councillor Ames, are there any other nominations for that role? So Councillor Ames, you are elected as deputy. Okay. Okay, the next committee is the Audit and Governance Committee, which has 3 councillor positions. I'll put that first before we go to the deputy. So I'm
happy to nominate, but I'm also just questioning, we've got 4 positions listed here.
Okay.
So can you please remind me to stand up, because I'm out of habit at standing up in meetings.
3. Oh, okay, you've got 3 on that sheet. Okay, so 4 plus 1 deputy.
My understanding of this committee is that it could be dropped down to 3 if we drop down one of the community members when we advertise. So if we don't get enough nominations, that's a possibility, yes?
I'd have to check with Mr White in terms of the terms of reference, the charter.
Thank you through you, Madam Mayor. That's correct. The charter states that it will have up to 3 community members, and under the Act there needs to be 1 more councillor member than community members.
we'll see who nominates first. So we've got Councillor McLennan. Just while I write this, thank you. Councillor Plinker.
Thank you.
Any others nominating? I've got McWilliam. So that's 3 positions. We accept that and go for one.
Through Madam Mayor, so if we accepted that as the final result, we could advertise the 2 community members.
Okay, so we'll leave it at that, and taking the advice of Mr. White. I'll now call for nominations for the deputy role. So that would make the 4. Mr. White, as Mayor, I can nominate for that Audit and Governance Committee as well, which would bring the numbers up to 4.
3 Madam Mayor, that's correct.
Right. So I'll nominate for Audit and Governance as well. Very good. You're keeping up with us very well. Thank you. Okay, the next committee is the Bassendean Local Emergency Management Committee. Okay, we have Councillor Ames, Councillor Plink, McWilliam. Okay, and we'll do the deputy roles separately, and Councillor Carter as well. Right. So we have 4 nominations for a committee that has 2 vacancies. Before we go to the vote, I'd like to ask, are there any councillors who'd like to withdraw their nomination? In that case, we need to go to a vote. Two positions there. So councillors, you need to nominate 2 councillors for this role.
One vote for Carter, 1 vote for Ames. 1 vote for McWilliam, 1 vote for Palufka. 1 vote for Palufka, 1 vote for McWilliam. 1 vote for Palufka, 1 vote for Ames. 1 vote for Carter, 1 vote for Palufka. 1 vote for Carter, 1 vote for McWilliam.
Just slow down.
Sorry. Okay. You got the Carter and McWilliam?
Yes.
Right. 1 vote for Ames and 1 vote for Palufka. How big is that?
3 for Ames, 5 for Palufka, 3 for McWilliam, 3 for Carter.
Oh dear. No, no, for the second.
So before we go to another poll, I will again ask councillors if there's any councillors who'd like to withdraw. Councillor McWilliam. Councillor, I'll bring it to your attention that Councillor
Ames?
is, Councillor Ames is not yet on the committee, is that right?
That's right.
That's
Yes.
correct.
He's deputy of one, but not yet on a committee, so you may wish to consider that in your next round of voting. But I do need to put this to the vote again. So Councillor McWilliam has withdrawn, so that leaves 3. Councillor Ames, Councillor Polikwa and Councillor Carter. So you need to select 2.
Didn't Paul sort of get in, Councillor Oliver get in automatically because he got the highest votes?
First round.
Yeah,
round,
okay,
yeah.
so we need 1 more person. Apologies. Sincere apologies. A very popular committee.
You're surprised.
In case it hits the fan.
So in this vote, you're selecting 1 councillor, and the 2 candidates who put their hands up are Councillor Ames and Councillor Carter.
One vote for Ames. 1 vote for Ames. 1 vote for Carter. 1 vote for Ames. 1 vote for Ames. 1 vote for Carter. 1 vote for Ames. Ames has 5 votes, Carter has 2.
Thank you, councillors, for being patient there. Councillors, we still have the deputy role not filled in that one. So, Councillor Carter, are there any other councillors who would like to nominate for the deputy role? Councillor Carter, it's yours. The Complaints Committee naturally has all councillors. Okay. See, we'll go back to the Eastern Metropolitan Zone, the Walga Committee, where we still do not have a deputy. Are there any councillors who would like to nominate for the deputy role? Councillor McWilliam. Council appoints the following councillors to be members and deputy members to the following external committees for the 2021-23 term. And I'll ask, yes, because you're...
Because I'm closest to it. To the Eastern Metropolitan Regional Council, EMRC, we have as members Councillor Hamilton and Councillor McWilliam, as deputy Councillor Wilding. Metropolitan Regional Road Group, Eastern Region, my understanding is that will be, if and when it meets, council will appoint a member to that to attend. The Perth Airports Municipals Group, PAMG, Councillor Polikwa is the member and the deputy Councillor Wilding. The Walga East Metropolitan Zone, Councillor Wilding, Councillor Carter, Councillor McLennan as members and deputy Councillor William. To the Walga Annual General Meeting, we have as members Councillor Wilding, Councillor Carter and deputy Councillor McLennan. To Metro Central Joint
Sorry.
Development. And we've got.
Okay. So, councillors, I'm going to ask you to endorse endorse the following to sit. No, that's the joint. Okay. So, councillors, I'm going to ask you to endorse the nominations and the councillors voted into those roles. Can I have a mover? Councillor McLennan, a seconder. Councillor McWilliam. All those in favour? That's carried unanimously. We now move on to endorsing the following to sit on the Metropolitan Central Joint Development Assessment Panel for the term ending the 26th of January.
We have as members Councillor McLennan and Councillor Hamilton, and deputies Councillor William and Councillor Ames.
Sorry, let's vote. Yeah. But aren't we, haven't we already voted for the existing members and one deputy to be in place until January? Aren't we only voting for the deputy? So councillors, because we have existing members and one existing deputy, what we're voting for here is the additional deputy, who will be Councillor Ames. So I ask for a mover, Councillor McLennan. I ask for a seconder, Councillor Wilding. All those in favour? That's carried unanimously. I don't have that on the sheet. Appoints the following councillors to be members and deputy members to the following internal committees for the 2021-23 term. I'll get you to read out the...
For the Audit and Governance Committee, the members are Councillor McLennan, Councillor Polika, Councillor William and Councillor Hamilton, and the deputy member is Councillor Carter.
Thank you. And the Bassendean Local Emergency Management Committee?
Is members Councillor Polika, Councillor Ames, and deputy Councillor Carter.
Okay. So I'd like a mover for Councillor Ames, a seconder, Councillor Polika, and all those in favour? Yep. That's carried unanimously. Thank you everyone for being patient with me. I now declare this meeting closed. So thank you everyone for coming, and congratulations new councillors. Thank you.
There's the deputies.